Let's call the meeting to order. We're all present, Alyssa. The invocation this evening, item number 2, will be given by Damon Burpo with the World Harvest Church. Jonathan, would you lead us in the pledge after that, please?
I'd love to.
Thank you.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for these men and women who have dedicated their service to this great city of Enid. And Lord, as a resident of this city, I ask that you give them supernatural guidance, Lord, and give them your thoughts and your ideas that they may provide your solutions to the plans and purposes, Lord, of this great city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I heard that.
Item number 4, consider approval of minutes of the regular commission meeting of May 1, 2017.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ron, second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 5, awards, presentations, proclamations, and organizational business. Item 5.1, present the pet available for adoption at the city animal shelter.
There we go. A little black and white.
Hello, I'm Alan Elder with Enid Animal Control, and this is Daisy May. She's about 4 months old, mixed hound. She's a female, and she's ready for adoption. She's in Pen 25. Come out to see us at 1200 South 10th. She'll make a great addition to your home, so come see her. Thank you.
Item 5.2, the Austin Box Prescription Drug Awareness Day Proclamation. Steve?
Mr. Gilbert, Mayor and Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 proclamations for this evening, and the first one involves the Box family with Craig and Gail Box and Dana Patterson. And the 3 of you want to join us, please? Join the mayor if you would, please. Thank you for being here this evening. And the mayor has prepared this proclamation for you this evening. Whoop, my mistake. Here we go. You get the official one. I get to read. Again, thank you for being here this evening. Whereas the Austin Box 12 Foundation is a family-driven foundation that has taken personal tragedy and turned it into community success. And whereas the Box family has branched their passion throughout Oklahoma, they served on multiple committees, speak at various venues, and champion Naxalon initiatives. And whereas the Box have philanthropically left their mark in our local community through Champion Park and the Picnic for Progress, which is a prescription drug abuse and misuse awareness day event. It is a privilege and honor to have the Box family and the Enid community knowing they are leading the way in awareness and education surrounding prescription drug abuse and misuse prevention. And whereas the Box family has taken aim at prescription drug abuse and misuse prevention initiatives to ensure their family's dark hour is another family's silver lining. Now therefore, Bill Shuey hereby proclaims May 16th, 2017 as Austin Box 12 Prescription Drug Awareness Day. Congratulations. Feel free to share your thoughts.
Thank you so much. Austin passed away May 19th, 2011 from a prescription drug overdose. Since that time, it has been our mission to raise awareness so that no other family goes through the heartache that our family has gone through. So we appreciate this recognition, and we also hope that you all or anyone listening will come and attend the Picnic for Progress, which will be at Champion Park this coming Saturday. It will be a prescription drug take-back event. The OSBI will be there, and we encourage anyone who has prescription drugs in their homes that they're not using, that are outdated, to bring them and dispose of them properly. This is one of the main ways that prescription drugs get in the hands of the wrong people when we don't dispose of them appropriately. So thank you so much for this proclamation, Mayor Shuey, and I know that Austin would be proud. He loved his city. Thank you.
And here we have one more proclamation. Whereas May 20th, 2017 is the 7th Kids to Parks Day organized and launched by the National Park Trust. And whereas Kids to Parks Day empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoors and visit America's parks. And whereas it is important to introduce a new generation to our nation's parks because of the decline in park attendance over the last decade. And we should encourage children to lead an active lifestyle to combat the issues of childhood obesity, hypertension. And whereas Kids to Parks Day is open to all children and adults across the country to encourage a large and diverse group of participants. And whereas Kids to Parks Day will broaden children's appreciation for nature and the outdoors. Therefore, Bill Shuey, Mayor of the City of Enid, Oklahoma, requests all citizens take the children in their lives to a neighborhood, to a state park, to a national park, and hereby proclaim May 16, 2017 as Kids to Parks Day. So Mayor will take the advice and take kids to the park. Thank you. Okay. That's all for the evening.
Item 5.4, the Advanced Development Authority quarterly update by Mike Cooper will not be given tonight. Mike had an appointment at the Oklahoma State Legislature all day yesterday and all day today, so we will reschedule that. So we will not hear from Mike this evening, but we will reschedule. Item 6, hearings. Item 6.1, conduct a hearing regarding the proposed termination of Increment District Number 5, City of Enid, Oakwood Mall project. Nate, is that you?
Good evening, Nate Ellis, Public Finance Law Group, working with the city on the creation of the potential ADM TIF and also concurrently the elimination of Increment District Number 5, which was the Oakwood Mall plan. Tonight, this item is a second public hearing. Going back through the process, back in February 23rd, you adopted a resolution of intent to consider the ADM TIF and to consider terminating this TIF. Review committee was commissioned on April 3rd. That review committee actually voted to recommend that the increment district number 5 be terminated. Last night at the MAPC meeting, they also recommended that this increment district be terminated. We had our first public hearing last week, Monday. Did not have anybody in attendance. And then tonight is the second hearing, so this is really an opportunity for public comment. Very briefly, as you know, the project was a contemplated redevelopment of the Oakwood Mall project. The project kind of fell apart. The development group backed out. Ultimately, there's really no purpose to continue to have this TIF in existence. If a TIF were appropriate for that sort of a project, it would have to be reworked given the amount of time that's passed since the original timeline that was contemplated. And so this is really going through the administrative procedure to eliminate this TIF, get it off the books so that the city doesn't have an obligation to try and administer something that nothing's really happening on. So I'm happy to answer any questions. This is an opportunity for public comment, so I'll step back at this point if there is any.
Comments? Hearing none, we will move on to item 6.2. Conduct a hearing regarding the proposed creation of increment district number 8, City of Enid, and the ADM Milling Economic Development Project Plan. Nate?
Okay. Concurrently with that process, we also considered the creation of increment district number 8. The review committee met several times. Ultimately, on April 17th, they passed a resolution recommending that the city adopt the project plan and create the TIF district. The Planning Commission similarly passed a resolution last night. We had a hearing last Monday night at the same time. Again, no one was present for that. This is a second public hearing opportunity for public comment. The purpose of this project is to promote economic development by incentivizing capital investment in order to preserve employment opportunities and to enhance the tax base. Essentially, what would be created is an 11-year TIF. Really, the first year is kind of a ramp-up time, so it's really 10 years of revenue, where the new revenue that's generated by an approximately $32 million investment by ADM in their existing facilities would be split 50%. 50% would be an incentive to offset some of the costs of that upgrade to their facilities. Over the life of the 10 years, based on that $32 million investment, factoring in estimated depreciation of equipment over time, that number is about $1.4 million. Okay, it could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less based on the final valuations on each year, but that's kind of the best estimate. The other 50% would actually go to, part of it would go to the city, approximately $87,500 for each of the first 4 years to offset up to $350,000 in traffic and other TIF-related costs that the city could incur. And what's contemplated is some traffic and road improvements along 4th Street that the city could incur and then recoup those funds over the first 4 years. And the balance of funds would then be distributed to all of the taxing entities on a pro rata basis based on their relative levy rate. So approximately $350,000 would flow to the taxing or to the city. A little over $1 million would actually flow to the taxing jurisdictions. So this is really the first time that we've seen the evolution of increment districts here in Enid, where we've actually gone to a 50-50 model. The existing revenues that are generated off the facility are protected, so those will continue to flow to the taxing jurisdictions, same as they have historically. And in fact, to the extent that they take certain equipment out, that actually brings the total value down. The amount of improvements that they do, they have to get back up to that baseline level. That base has to be fully funded before any revenue goes to the TIF district or starts to accrue and become TIF revenues and allocated out in this particular manner. So again, public hearing, I'm happy to answer any questions, but opportunity for public comment.
Any comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 6.3.
Thank you.
Conduct a hearing to close the entire Winfield Circle in Winfield Addition in Enid, Oklahoma, part of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 13, Township 22 North, Range 7 west of the Indian Meridian. Robert?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager. This is a public hearing to consider the item of closing Winfield Circle. It is an unimproved section of right-of-way off of Seneca Avenue, just west of Taft School. We have a location map here that shows the location of the unimproved Circle Drive. The property owner abutting the roadway owns all the property surrounding the circle. And so there's unimproved. It's anticipated that there'll be no need for improvement of the roadway. They've requested for closing the right-of-way. This is a public hearing to take any comments. There is no public utilities in the right-of-way. Utility companies, our franchise companies have been notified, as well as property owners within 300 feet. We received no comments at this time.
Does all the property go all the way to the abandoned railroad track where the trail is? Or just?
That's correct. I think the road was originally set up to provide for lots, additional lots south of Seneca to the railroad tracks. Those are all under one ownership, and at this time, so yes, it goes to the railroad right-of-way.
Questions, comments? Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Under item 7, community development, there are none. Item 8, administration. Item 8.1, consider a resolution approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2017-2018 fiscal year budget for the City of Enid, Oklahoma, approving the fiscal year 2017-2018 financial plan for the Advanced Development Authority, authorizing the city manager or his designee to make fund transfers as provided in the Municipal Budget Act, and authorizing the chief financial officer to invest the city's funds as provided in Oklahoma Statute Title 62, Section 348.1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Tammy to approve, a second by Ben. Further comments? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-1. Item 8.2, consider and take action with respect to an ordinance of the City of Enid, Oklahoma, the city, repealing ordinance number 2012-22 of the city and terminating increment district number 5, City of Enid, Oakwood Mall, TIF, ratifying and confirming the actions, recommendations, and findings of the Review Committee and the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission, providing for disposition of funds held in the apportionment fund, providing for severability, and containing other provisions related thereto. Nate?
Well, you heard my brief presentation just moments ago in the hearing, so I won't say the same thing over and over. This ordinance terminates the TIF district, and so with this, that process will be complete.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ben, second by Ron. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. This one's going to take a while. Grab your pillow.
Do we take turns?
Item 8.3, consider and take action with respect to an ordinance of the City of Enid, Oklahoma, the city, approving utilization of appropriated tax revenues authorized by statewide vote, adopting Article 10, Section 6C of the Oklahoma Constitution, and implemented by the Local Development Act 62. Help me with that again.
OS, Oklahoma statutes.
850, approving and adopting the ADM Milling Economic Development Project Plan and expressing intent to carry out the project plan, ratifying and confirming the actions, recommendations, and findings of the Review Committee and the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission, creating and establishing Increment District Number 8, City of Enid, designated and appropriate, and adopting the increment district boundaries and the project area boundaries, adopting certain findings, reserving to the city the authority to make minor amendments to the project plan, authorizing the mayor and the board of commissioners of the city to carry out and administer the project plan, establishing a tax apportionment fund, authorizing directions for prospective appropriate of tax instruments, establishing an allocation of use for tax increments, declaring apportionment funds to be funds of the city and limiting the pledge of apportionment increments to increments actually apportioned by the city, authorizing the mayor and the board of commissioners of the city or a public trust designated thereby to implement the project plan utilizing apportioned tax increments to pay or reimburse project costs directly and/or to issue bonds or notes, if feasible and desirable, to pay project costs and to retire said bonds or notes from apportioned tax increments, providing for severability, declaring an emergency, and containing other provisions related thereto. Nate?
I will reiterate, I am not paid by the word.
Say that 5 times fast.
One,
Neither am I.
one item that I meant to mention in the hearing that I did not, we actually had a recommended addition to the project plan. That was some language that dealt with the concept of a minimum FTE level. This was something that we talked about in the review committee, but it didn't actually go in at that stage. But after the fact, in consultation with ADM representatives, they were agreeable to establish a minimum floor of 50 full-time employees. That's below what their current level is. We really don't anticipate that they're going to ever hit that. But were they to drop below that level, they would not be eligible for the incentive for that particular year. So that's almost more the next stage. If you move forward and adopt this TIF, the next stage will be to work on a development agreement with ADM and bring that back to the council at a later date here in a month or so for adoption. That language really is best suited in there, but we thought it appropriate to go ahead and add it into the project plan just so it was in there already. So
So do we need to modify this ordinance as
no, I don't think we need to do anything with the ordinance, but that we've had that red line change out there with this language added in, so you can adopt it with this language in it, and that will satisfy that.
I'll move to approve this ordinance.
Second.
We have a motion by Ben, second by Ron.
I have one other question.
Questions?
You said it'll fall below, 50 FTEs is lower than the current number. What's the current number?
I believe, and John Dick, who's the plant manager, is here, and I think he's wanting maybe to come up and say a word or so in a minute as well, but is it 75? Is that the current number approximately? So I think that may fluctuate 70 to 75 in that range.
Okay, thanks.
I thank the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission for the hard work they did on it. Jonathan, you got educated.
It was definitely a learning experience.
You did a good job.
But it was a good one.
We have a motion and a second. Who made the motion?
Ben?
Ben, second by George.
Ron?
Ron, okay. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0.
And then you want us to declare an emergency, why?
This question often has come up here. There is legal justification where under law, you can declare an emergency for purposes of public health, preservation, welfare, all of that. You can declare an emergency and it makes the ordinance effective immediately. If you do not declare an emergency, then the ordinance becomes effective after a 30-day period. In this particular case, it really doesn't matter. It has no bearing on the ultimate outcome of this. The method for challenging an ordinance that's adopted by the city is a referendum process. There's a 30-day period if someone wants to file a petition for referendum, they can do so. That's from the date that the ordinance is adopted, which would be tonight. So 30 days, whether it's effective or not, that's the same time period. So again,
So it doesn't hurt anything if we
it does
don't
not hurt
do it?
anything
Okay.
if we do not have an emergency. It's a matter of convenience. Again, I've used the analogy, it's different from an emergency room where someone comes in with their arm mangled or something. It's not that kind of emergency. It's a legal definition. You have the ability to declare that as a council if you see fit.
Yeah, and that's a good point, too. Will, you may want to just follow up on what Nate said to ensure that our new commissioners understand the emergency clause is provided for in the charter, right? And so it takes, so when you take action on ordinances or resolutions, they don't take effect until 30 days after publication, I believe.
That's
Unless you invoke this emergency clause, which is allowed for the commission to do for the reasons Nate just talked about. It takes 5 of them to approve that?
Yes, it's a super.
And as Nate pointed out, if you approve it, fine. If you don't approve it, it's still going to be fine.
I see no reason not to approve it. I'll make a motion that we approve the emergency.
Second.
A motion by Ron to approve the emergency, second by Tammy. We need to, yeah. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-1. Item 4.
Silly.
Item 4, consider an ordinance to close the entire Winfield Circle in the Winfield Addition in Enid, Oklahoma, a part of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 13, Township 22 North, Range 7 West of the Indian Meridian. Robert?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ron, second by Jonathan. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 9, consent items.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ben, a second by Tammy to approve. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 10, we'll now recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. Item 11, all of the trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority are in attendance at the regular meeting. Item 12, the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 12.1, consider a resolution approving and adopting the fiscal year 2017-2018 Enid Municipal Authority Financial Plan.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ben, second by Tammy. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 12.2, approval of claims in the amount of $93,383.11.
So moved.
Motion by Ben,
Second?
second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 13, we will now adjourn to convene as the Enid Economic Development Authority. Item 14, all of the trustees of the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting are in attendance. Item 15, the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 15.1, consider a resolution approving and adopting the fiscal year 2017-2018 Enid Economic Development Authority Financial Plan.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Tammy, second by Jonathan. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 15.2, approval of claims in the amount of $187,500.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jonathan, second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 16, we will now adjourn to convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. Item 17, all of the trustees of the Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting are in attendance. Item 18, the Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 18.1, consider a resolution approving and adopting the fiscal year 2017-2018 Enid Transportation Authority Financial Plan.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Tammy.
Second.
Second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 18.2, consider a resolution authorizing the chairman of the Enid Public Transportation or his delegate to apply for a grant from the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, Transit Programs Division, and the Enid Public Transportation Authority for a capital grant under 49 USC number 5339B, Bus and Bus Facilities Grant Program.
Motion to approve.
Motion by George.
Second.
Second by Tammy. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 18.3, approval of claims in the amount of $3,292.20.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jonathan.
Second.
Second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 19, we'll now adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item 20, public comments. We have Dr. Edmund Rollins. Need your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Ed Rollins. Most of the people in this room I've came across, over the years and stuff. I wear many hats, like some people was teasing me earlier today. I, retired Chief Master Sergeant, Air Force and stuff, and I retired from Enid High School, Enid Public School teaching ROTC last year. But I'm not here for that purpose this afternoon. I'm here to introduce the Enid NAACP. So I want to say good evening to Mayor Shuey, City Manager, City Commissioners, and the members in the audience. I want to thank you for giving me this time to speak to you. My purpose this afternoon is to introduce myself. Some of the members that are here, they may want to stand around if you want. I have Vice President Terrence Haynes over in the corner over here, Anthony Claudy, Second Vice, and Miss Lanita
Dr.
Norwood.
Rollins, stand sideways so you can speak into the
So I
mic.
can see them good? Very good.
There you go.
And Miss Lanita Norwood, okay? The National NAACP was founded February 12, 1909. Notably, it is the nation's oldest, largest, and most widely recognized grassroots-based civil rights organization for all people regardless of race. Our NAACP role is to support all of the people in Garfield County and the surrounding communities within our jurisdiction. We are here to work with our city leaders with an effort to enhance harmony and justice for all citizens in the Garfield County area. Our area of responsibility covers from Clinton, Oklahoma to the Kansas border, simply stating we have a big job to do. So to the community of Enid, we are in the process now of enrolling new members in the NAACP. We have a few events scheduled for the future, which will be posted in a month or so. But our goal is to help our community, when called upon, to sponsor and support the local community here in Enid, Oklahoma. We are targeting youth groups. I'm on the board of the local Red Cross here, so we're going to be working with the local Red Cross in case of a national emergency or disaster. We're going to support our local church events, the United Way, the YMCA, the YWCA, the Booker T. Washington Community Center. We're going to work with community scholarships. There are some programs here in Enid that it was brought to my attention that some kids can't go to youth camps during the summer because they don't have the funding. If the NAACP could help them, we need to know that and have someone contact us so we could help them go to some of those youth camps with a scholarship that we can afford to give them. And during the next month, the next upcoming month, which is the month of June, we're going to have the Enid going to be celebrating that Juneteenth celebration, which we will have some members of the local NAACP soliciting membership during that time, adult and youth membership. In other words, we would like for the city leaders to call upon us and continue to work together as we continue to work together to make Enid a great community to live in. And right now, everything is going great, but we want to make sure that we are part of this community effort. In other words, the city is ours, and we all want to work together in harmony in the city of Enid. The membership fee for the NAACP is $30 for adults, $15 for youth. And keep in mind, anyone can petition the NAACP for assistance and or help, whether they are part of membership or not. So I want to thank you for your time. And if there are any questions, I'm ready to answer a few questions at this time.
Questions, comments? Dr. Rollins, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Our next person, Diane.
Diane Levesque, 1324 West Oak Avenue, and like I said, the last special meeting, I wanted to wrap up some details that I ran too long last time for, but before I do that, I do want to say that I rejoice in this local chapter of the NAACP. And as you know from previous presentations on my part, it has mainly to do with the curious case of Byron Carr, as well as the curious case of the repeated overlooking of the Southern Heights Museum. Now, what was left over from last special meeting has to do, and I think it's very important to bring to the city's attention, the fact that the Union Pacific Railroad is spending millions, if not $1 billion, in improving Oklahoma's railways, as well as overpasses and underpasses, and that truck-eating bridge comes to mind immediately. And in the context of what was just covered with the ADM TIF, that's what puts Enid on the map as far as the Oklahoma commerce is concerned and how important Enid is to that. So you might look into that. Mr. Jansen, I applaud your efforts to review the, okay, can't think of it, but lobbyists comes to mind, yes. But I wanted to also say, too, that if you had a lobbyist that went to Union Pacific and lobby in terms of Enid being this great crossroads of commerce, for which those truck-eating bridges are an obstruction of the free flow of commerce, truck-wise, you might point out to them, too, that we are the crossroads of 4 major truck routes, and if you count Route 4, that's 5. But those are along Route 81. And I wanted to also mention that any commissioner that has a ward, that represents a ward that has any jurisdiction over any portion of Route 81, your predecessors and previous record shows an underwhelming support for your ward insofar as Route 81 is concerned, and I would urge you to be a little more vocal about promoting Route 81 as part of what's important statewide as well as for the local Enid economy. And mention in passing that Farm Rail uses it too. So here we are as a seat of Garfield County having to do with the county-wide agricultural commerce in that regard. So this would also address the matter of the downtown eyesores, where you have railroad right-of-ways, and I've already talked to the code department about why they're exempt from code compliance. And they said that's because they're federally regulated. And of course, when the other cities that I see that railroads are otherwise good citizens, where they have right-of-ways and proper maintaining it. However, if Union Pacific is spending all this money in overhauling such things, make a lot of noise to them from Enid. Enid needs it. And that would solve several problems all at once.
Thank you. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Ben, second by Jonathan. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. We are adjourned.
Thank you for joining us for the Enid City Commission meeting. If you have any questions or comments, visit our website at enid.org.